Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to call to order the regular council meeting for September 8th, 2014. Mr. Spagnol, can we have a roll call, please?
Colella.
Here.
Dixon.
Here.
Gibbons.
Here.
Hannon. Harrison.
Present.
McLean.
Yes.
Mowry. O'Brien.
Present.
Pegg.
Yes.
7 present.
We have 7 members present. We now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to make a chair announcement. An executive session of council was held on Monday, August 25, 2014, to discuss contractual issues and a police personnel issue. Now move to the reports of the officials. First is the library director. Appears the library director is not present. Police chief, Chief Mackey.
Thank you, Mr. McLean. Good evening, everyone. Just a couple items this evening. First one, our next Crime Watch meeting is Monday, September 29th, 6:30 at the Bethel Park Community Center. And once again, you do not have to be a Crime Watch member in order to attend the meetings. I know Officer Rigatti would enjoy seeing everyone there, so if you want to come out and spend a little bit of time with your Crime Watch members, 6:30, September 29th at the Community Center. The Police Department is once again going to participate in the Drug Enforcement Administration Drug Take-Back Program. That will be Saturday, September 27th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Same 2 locations as always, the Community Center and the Highmark Direct Building, which is located at 1775 North Highland Road. If you have any unused, unwanted, expired medications in pill form, you can bring it to one of the drop-off points. Also, we now have a drug drop box in the lobby at the police department. So if you can't make it out to the drug take-back, you can bring it to the police department any day of the week, 24 hours a day. Once again, please only pill form, no liquid medications, and no needles. On Friday, October 3rd, Allstate Insurance Company is going to present a program called Reality Rides. This is going to be actually at the football stadium in the parking lot, and that's the night where Bethel Park plays Mount Lebanon. What Reality Rides is, it's a driving simulator. So if you want to test your driving skills or have your 16 and 17-year-old children check their driving skills, it might not be a bad idea. They can come up, and time permitting, we'll get as many people as we can through the driving simulator. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but we have a new speed monitor trailer out there in the community that was donated by Allstate Insurance. I believe it's actually over on Church Road right now. And the nice thing about this sign is not only does it indicate what speed you're traveling, we can also put messages on the message board. So if the road's closed ahead, we can put that on there. We've also had the message frequently to remind people not to text and drive. So if you see that blue trailer out there, that was donated from Allstate Insurance, and they're just continuing to be a really good partner for the police department, not only here in Bethel Park, but also Mount Lebanon. My last reminder is, obviously, school is now open, so we ask everyone to please drive carefully and watch out for the children walking to and from school and at the bus stops. We've already had complaints this year for people passing school buses, and I've been doing this for 37 years, and I still can't figure out why people think they could pass a school bus with those red lights flashing. So please remember, school's in session, and drive carefully. And that is my report, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any questions from members of council? Thank you very much, Chief. Next, hear from the fire chief.
Good evening. My name is Dave Gerber. I'm the fire chief with the Bethel Park Volunteer Fire Company. In the month of August, the fire company ran a total of 40 calls. It's 6 building fires, 1 dumpster fire, 3 odors of smoke, 1 vehicle into a house, 1 elevator rescue, 1 vehicle extrication, 6 gas leaks, 1 electrical condition, 3 vehicle accidents, and 17 false alarms. It's getting to be that time of year, unfortunately, starting to get cold out. The leaves are going to start changing and falling. Just a reminder to everybody that in Allegheny County you are not allowed to openly burn your leaves, twigs, tree branches, and stuff like that that you pick up from around your yard and stuff. Every year we end up getting called to a couple of them because people get a little carried away and stuff. But that's just a reminder, there's no open burning leaves and items of that nature and stuff. We have 2 events, well, 1 event coming up and another fundraiser that we're doing. On Saturday, October 18th, we are holding an Oktoberfest and Monte Carlo night over at the Bethel Park Community Center. That event's going to run from 12 noon until whenever in the evening. Tickets for that are $25 a person. You must be 21 years old to be there. That includes all there's a DJ, sorry, a live DJ, all the food and beer, pop and water, whatever you'd like to drink. There'll be games of chances, 50-50 raffles. They'll be selling, I believe there's going to be a Chinese auction and stuff there, things along those lines. Money wheels, Monte Carlo type games, things of that nature. We'd like to thank our sponsors for that at this point. Pasta 2 is a sponsor, Lowe's, Bethel Park Printing, Virgili Beer Distributor, Pepsi, and Kogo's. If you're interested in tickets, right now you can call Firefighter Eva Parker at 412-758-0917 or Deputy Chief Rob Nestrick at 412-862-1339. Like I said, we appreciate anybody who wants to come on out, spend afternoon, evening. You can come whenever you want. You don't have to be there all day, obviously. Come on out, eat, and have a good time with us. So that's that. Our other fundraiser that we are having right now is a yearly calendar. The calendar gives away money every day. Every day there's a prize given away and stuff. The calendars are $25 a piece. You can pick them up right now from any of the firemen here in Bethel Park. And you can also get them from EV Hardware or Bethel Park Printing. Stop in one of them. You can get the calendars and help sponsor the fire department. We appreciate it. So with that, that is all I have this evening, unless anybody has any questions.
Any questions from council? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Next item is the mayor's report. Mayor Allen.
Thank you, Chairman. And Dave, I did buy my calendar today. So.
I was told that. Thank you.
Okay. I'm not going to tell you the number, though. I just have a few items this evening. The first one I want to mention is Bethel Park Community Day, which is Saturday, September 20th in the high school parking lot from 10 to 4, and the parade starts at 9 o'clock. And this year, not that we're going to need it, but we will have a rain day, which will be Sunday, September 21st. It'll be 12 to 4. The activities will be very limited, but the vendors would certainly appreciate your business if it actually gets to that. So that's Community Day, September 20th. The second item I wanted to bring up our District Judge Ron Arnone. He's having a presentation. It's called The Darker Side of Technology. It's about cyberbullying, sexting, and sextortion. And that's Wednesday, September 24th at 7:30 at the Bethel Park High School Auditorium. So I invited him to say a few words on the program that he's put together.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Mayor and Council, staff. Thanks very much. Excuse my back. First of all, I want to tell you about a very important event that is, as the mayor alluded to, coming up on September 24th at the Bethel Park Auditorium at 7:30 p.m. This event is very important and relevant in our community, to our kids and really to everyone. We're bringing Jim Dill to Bethel Park. He's a former colleague of mine at the Attorney General's office and one of the foremost experts in cyberbullying, cyber crimes, and internet issues. And we're going to be lucky to have him. Judge Guy Reschenthaler and myself have joined forces to put this event on, not only at the community event September 24th at the Bethel Park Auditorium, but also we are doing a number of presentations in all the middle schools and all the school districts across this district: Upper St. Clair, Bethel Park, South Park, West Jefferson Hills, and Pleasant Hills. And again, some of the issues that we're going to cover in the darker side of technology include examining social networking, how information is being misused, understanding social networking and security, showing apps and methods, risky student behaviors, long-term consequences of sharing information online, stalking, cyberbullying, sexting, and other very important and relevant matters as it relates to internet use and online use. And also, the other important issue here that we're going to really cover is learning how to mitigate these important matters, and we're going to put a workbook together. So anyone that comes to the event is going to also leave with a workbook that Guy Reschenthaler, Judge Reschenthaler, and myself put together with the help of a number of individuals and sponsors, of which will be recognized in the workbook as well as at the event on September 24th. Also, a couple of thanks that I'd like to extend. One, to council for being so supportive of this endeavor by including us as part of your speaker series through the Bethel Park Recreation. Further, the Bethel Park School District, the staff here at Bethel Park, and certainly a big thanks to BPTV and Dave Cable. They've been great in endorsing the program. So thank you all very much for that. And I hope we have a great number of people come, because it's free. It's an important subject matter that really, again, like I said, relates to all of us. And this is going to be a series of issues that we're going to address. That is myself and Judge Reschenthaler over the next several months. The next one we're going to work on is a senior seminar, and then followed up by a drug task force or seminar that we'd like to work on. So, but this one, folks, come out and see it. The information's incredible. I had the opportunity to see it twice, and I can tell you it brings out your emotions. And I thought I was technologically savvy, and I learned that I'm not as technologically savvy as I thought I was. There's a lot of information out there, so be prepared to learn a lot. So thank you very much. September 24th, 7:30, Bethel Park Auditorium. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thanks, Judge.
Okay, at this time I'd like to recognize three young women from Troop 50148 from the Bethel South Council. They've just started their endeavor through the high school. They're all freshmen now. And they've completed their Silver Award project. Each girl had someone in their life with a serious health problem, and they wanted to give out information on these health issues. They'll also have a booth at Community Day, and at this time I'd like to bring the three up. Two of them I've met before, Emily Clairvit, Angela Burns, and Leah DeJean, to talk about their projects. So at this time, young ladies. Who wanted to go first?
Hello, I'm Emily Clarvett.
I'm Angela Burns.
And I'm Leah DeJohn. We are Girl Scouts in Troop 50148. We are working on our Silver Award project. We have created 6 public service announcements to inform our community about several different health issues. They include women's health cancers, melanoma, mental illnesses, strokes, heart attacks, and falling in the home. All of these issues need early detection or intervention. Keep an eye out for our public service announcements on BBTV and YouTube. Also, we will be at the Girl Scout booth on Community Day giving out handouts with general information on about the previously mentioned issues. Thank you for your time. Yeah, we're good.
I thought you wanted to talk about your own project, but that's okay. Before you leave, I have a certificate for each one of you. And I'll just read the first one. It says Certificate of Recognition. This one's presented to Leah DeJohn, Girl Scout Troop 50148, for your service and dedication to the Bethel Park community, awarded this 8th day of September 2014. So, Leah. Thank you very much. And with that, that's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Before we move the rest of the agenda, I did want to note there is one other dignitary present in the room, in the audience this evening. Our County Council member, Sue Means, is present. Sue, do you want to address us?
What's the best place?
If you can find the microphone.
Well, first of all, I'm really excited and honored to be here this evening to give Bethel Park Council and all of Bethel Park an award for being a banner community 2014 with ALOM, so congratulations. I tell my fellow council people down in County Council that they could learn a lesson from how you all get along so well. And I tell my council members that you can't tell the Republicans from the Democrats, and they can't believe it. But you are a shining example of public servants. No one's here for self-interest. Everyone, staff and elected officials, work together to bring the best services and provide the best government for the citizens of Bethel Park. So I thank you very, very much. And now I'll read the proclamation. Whereas for the first time the municipality of Bethel Park has been named a 2014 banner community by the Allegheny League of Municipalities for providing effective, efficient, and accountable services to its residents and businesses. Whereas a Banner Community Program Award is given to those municipalities and implement best practices in all aspects of their operations that govern in an inclusive, cooperative manner. And whereas the designation acknowledges that Bethel Park's efforts to inform and engage citizens through frequent and open communication, public and community events, and mentoring. And whereas Bethel Park has proven itself a model municipality through community events and activities, educational programs, civic performance, and sustainable governing practices and fiscal accountability. And whereas the elected officials and staff of the municipality of Bethel Park are outstanding professionals and consistently utilize group decision-making models and best practices for consensus building in order to deliver the highest quality of services to the residents of Bethel Park. Now therefore be it resolved that Allegheny County Council does hereby congratulate the municipality of Bethel Park for being named a 2014 Banner Community by ALUM. And we thank the municipality of Bethel Park for serving as an exemplary model of local government. Sponsored by Councilmember Sue Means, myself, and presented on this, the 8th day of September 2014.
Thank you very much.
Does anybody have any questions for me?
Any questions?
Okay.
No. Thank you
All
very
right.
much. Appreciate
Thank you
it.
very much.
Thank you. We'll move to the items on the regular items on the agenda. First is the approval of minutes. Mr. Dixon.
I move that we approve the regular council meeting minutes of August 11, 2014.
The motion has been made and seconded that we approve the regular council meeting minutes of August 11, 2014. Mr. Spagnol, may I have a roll call, please?
Dixon?
Yes.
Givens?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
McLean?
Yes.
O'Brien?
Yes.
Pape?
Pape? Say yes. Yes.
Colella?
Yes.
Motion is approved, 7 in favor, none opposed. Next item is bills and payrolls. Mr. Dixon.
I move that we approve the bills and payrolls for the municipality per bill list 090814 in the amount of $1,095,741.52.
A motion has been made and seconded that we approve the bills and payrolls for the municipality per bill list number 090814 in the amount of $1,095,741.52. Mr. Spagnol, may I have a roll call, please?
Gibbons?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
McLean?
Yes.
O'Brien?
Yes.
Pape?
Yes.
Colella?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
7-0.
Motion is approved, 7 in favor, none opposed. Next item on the agenda is residents' comments. No one has signed up to speak. This is for non-agenda items only. Is there anyone in the audience who wants to address us? Yes, sir. If you could please come to the microphone and identify yourself. And so that you know, you'll be limited to 3 minutes, and the borough manager will indicate to you when you've spoken for 2 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Cameron Cook, and I am the owner of an office building located at 110 Fort Couch Road, right across from the mall, kind of snuggled in between the funeral parlor and the bike shop. About a year ago, I stopped by the treasurer's office to talk to him about being excluded from the sewer charge for my water cooling tower. What the water cooling tower does is water, a piping system runs through the building, goes through the water cooling tower itself, cools the water, then it goes back into the building and acts as an HVAC system. Within the cooling tower itself, it has its own circulation system. Water comes in from outside. It then cools off the water, the piping system that goes into the building. But during that process, there's quite a bit of evaporation of the water. That evaporation precludes the water itself from going into the sewer system. And that is why I'm asking for an exemption for that particular water that goes into that system. When I contacted the former treasurer, Mark Romito, he suggested that I contact the council and ask for an exemption. Very similar to a situation that you've got with water sprinklers. You've got water that you pay for when you're sprinkling the lawn, but the water itself doesn't go into the sewer system. Very similar situation. I have here some photos of the water tower itself and of the evaporation of the water. What I would propose to do is have a meter set in the water cooling tower that would measure the amount of water that goes into the tower itself. That would be separate from the water for the building. I would pay the water bill, obviously, for both the building and the cooling tower. However, I would ask that the water that goes into the cooling tower be exempt from the sewer charge, since basically what happens with that water is it evaporates.
Can staff tell us, is there a process for applying for an exemption?
Typically, if it's not separately metered yet,
It is not separately metered.
I would say maybe once it's separately metered, if you want to give us a call and we can try to help with you on that.
That's fine, and that's what I would propose to do. I'd asked Mark what the process was, and he said, first of all, let's start here, get approval from the council, and then get it separately metered, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that system itself, but certainly if you want to give us a call, we can talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. If you could contact Mr. Villela, who's
Okay.
currently in the position that Mr. Ramito was
Okay.
in before, if you could do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Harrison?
I just, maybe out of ignorance, but I'd ask a question. Would the people who have swimming pools have the same complaint? They put water in the swimming pool and they pay for the water, but I don't know how much evaporation you get. I don't have a swimming pool, but I know the people next door frequently are putting their hose in the pool to fill it on these warm days. So I'm just laying the question on the table that if we honor this request, I can envision people who put water in swimming pools may say, hey, I lose a lot of water that I shouldn't pay for either. So I just think it's something for consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi. Morning, or good evening. My name is Bob Swish. I was here last month and I spoke on the house that was sold at 2844 West Monroe. The house was sold to a gentleman who lives in Maryland. He sold it, or he bought it for an investment property, and he's rented it to Envision Human Services. They deal with mentally challenged adults and treat them in these homes. They deal with aggressive behaviors, problematic sexual behaviors, and other mental behaviors in addition to those. I wanted to say last month I did say that I spoke to Tim Murphy. I did not speak to him himself. I spoke to his staff, and I want to make that clear. The federal law, they told me that the federal law says that you don't have to put these places or these homes in residential areas. I received a call after I put this out in a flyer and discussed it with you guys and ladies. I got a call from them saying, "Oh no, we never said that. How can we tell you something that Bethel's doing if we haven't talked to Bethel yet?" Well, I knew they hadn't talked to you yet because I was up at their office before I even talked to you about it. So I just want to make that clear. They did call. I'm going to call Political Gargonzola from their office right now. I have nothing in writing from them, and I want to make that clear that Mr. Hannon last week told me that they were following the federal law. And I just want to make that clear that I always told you I didn't want to go back and forth last week and last month, and I still don't. At the time, I have nothing from them in writing. They have told me some other details with that day that they call me, and until I get something from them in writing, I'm not going to bring it up here. I'm not going to bring it up to anyone until I have it in writing, and in that way, there's no question. I've been dealing with the federal government for 35 years of my 65 years of age. Of that 35, over 25 years have been in a direct dialogue with the federal government. So we'll never settle for nothing when something about the laws can be done. I know better. When the federal government forces laws on the cities of the United States and states and local governments follow suit, ignoring the welfare and the objections of the citizens, that's tyranny. When the ADA went through Congress, it was voted with some negative votes in the Senate, but passed unanimously in the House of Representatives by a voice vote. Was the bill actually read, or was it politically correct to vote yes? When the federal representatives legislate laws without the concern of its citizens, they represent, then they shouldn't be representatives any longer. That's what elections are for. When the state and local representations fall prey to these federal laws, without question, they too should not be representatives any longer. That's what elections are for. I sent a letter to each of you, and I'm hoping to hear from you. I'm not assigning blame to the present council, but there is nothing to stop the Bethel Council meeting with other councils in the other towns, townships, and boroughs to form a coalition in the 18th Federal District to have the law amended. If there is enough interest in a change in the law, Mr. Murphy can use his influence on his colleagues, especially if their constituents are following suit. Finally, an acquaintance of mine still working with the federal government informed me that if a local government receives any federal funding, it would in fact fall under the Freedom of Information Act. My initial request was denied by the Bethel Park municipality. If this serves to be true, I will be contesting the Bethel Park decision. I moved to Bethel Park over 22 years ago from the city of Pittsburgh after investigating other municipalities. My wife and I chose Bethel Park.
Sir, your 3 minutes are up.
Okay, can I just one second more? Many good things happen here, and I don't want that to change. Now, Bethel Park has a chance to be part of a change to improve the entire country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If we could ask Mr. McTiernan, our solicitor, following the remarks that we received a month ago when the resident was present, we asked Mr. McTiernan to look again at this issue of the status of federal law and its applicability to us and the ways in which it affects what we can do. And if Mr. McTiernan, if you could provide just a brief overview of the information that you provided to us.
I'll keep it brief, Mr. McTiernan. I provided a letter to council updating a 6-page letter I wrote in 1998 on this identical subject, which just clearly indicates the law is going to change. Fair housing amendments were adopted by the Congress of the United States, signed by the President. They've been in law for more than 20 years. And basically, that you cannot discriminate against handicapped individuals in the use of residential housing. Now, that doesn't mean you need to allow 50-person nursing home in a single-family district. But you can't just make a distinction based on the fact that some people have a handicap of any kind.
We don't mind handicapped people, but we don't.
Please, order in the room, please. Please.
I wouldn't have moved here for you.
And that is the law. There are uses like this throughout Allegheny County and throughout the country. So, and again, if the municipality were to defy that law, it would be subject to a civil rights suit, which could force the community to bear the attorney's fees and plaintiff. And I think that would be, another thing I would note is, in fact, this use is in accordance with the zoning ordinance. It allows up to 3 unrelated individuals to stay in a single-family home. So, A, it's in compliance with the zoning ordinance of the municipality, and it is in compliance with federal law. It's the essence of it.
So, Mr. McTiernan, bottom line, do we, as a local municipality, have any discretion to follow or not follow the federal law?
No, we're absolutely bound by these amendments. They're congressional action, just like the Civil Rights Act, just like the Voting Rights Act, the Fair Housing Amendments. They're absolutely binding on local government. You have no right or ability to defy them. And, my advice to council is to continue to comply with federal law.
Thank you. Any other questions? No, sir. You had your 3 minutes and we've responded. Maybe I'll also note, we have received a letter from you and it's raised a number of questions, and we'll refer that to Mr. McTiernan and we will be responding. Yeah. But thank you.
Mr. President?
Yes, Mr. Dixon.
I'd like to address Mr. Swish with consent of council.
Yes.
Wait a second. Am I going to be able to respond?
No, I just want to make a comment.
He's permitted to speak.
Several years ago, we went through the exact same thing you're going through right now. I have a group home whose backyard is adjacent to my backyard, is a direct neighbor of mine. This happened maybe 10 years ago or so. We went through varying levels of rage and anger, as you have, I'm sure. We had neighborhood meetings, we had community meetings. We took it to our congressman, we took it to the state senator. We took it to every level we could take it to, not because we're biased against people with handicap. We were worried about our property values. And I can tell you, you can take it as far as you want to take it, but federal law is going to prevail in the end. And that's what we found out after months of pursuing it. We lost. So I would encourage you to do whatever is in your heart, but I just wanted to share my experience with you. Sure.
Anything further? Ms. Means.
Hi, I'm Sue Means. I live at 3485 South Park Road in Bethel Park. I just wanted to remind the citizens that this Friday is the second annual Memorial Golf Outing to raise money for Rob White's children, our magistrate that passed suddenly last year at the Lindenwood Golf Club. And if you don't play golf, as I don't, you can still come and buy dinner and help support Rob's kids. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is under general policy and finance items. Mr. Dixon.
There were no items under general policy and finance.
Are there any additional items? I have one additional item.
Okay.
I just wanted to announce that we had noted in a couple past meetings that we are forming a Home Rule Study Commission in order to take a look at and review the Home Rule Charter that was adopted in 1978 and is applicable to the form of government we have in Bethel Park. And it was the consensus of council to form a study commission to take a look at that charter, review it, consider whether there should be any, if any, changes to the charter. And so we have formed that commission. Mr. Mowry announced at a prior meeting that I had been named chairman, and what I'd like to do at this evening's meeting is announce the members of the Home Rule Study Commission and indicate that we are going to begin that process. The other members of the study commission, in addition to myself, will be James Hannon, Lori Gibbons, Paul Dixon, and Brandon Colella from Municipal Council, as well as the following members from the public: Carol Stewart, Connie Surdy, Joseph Consolmagno, Tom Clevin, Michael Dobis, and Christine McIntosh. We are going to hold an organizational meeting to begin the formation of the commission on Tuesday, October 7th. Our meetings will be public. We will be planning to meet every other month for the period of time it takes us to review the charter and provide any recommendations back to council. We will encourage the public to participate in the process, and we will welcome the input from anyone, and we will have a number of designated public meetings where the public can come and offer their views on anything related to the charter. That's all I have.
Mr. Dixon.
Mr. Harrison?
I would like to comment on what Mr. McLean had to say. The Home Rule Charter has served us very well for several decades. It has provisions in the Home Rule Charter to make changes that it's judged to be necessary. It has to go to the ballot to get a change made. We've had, I think it's 4 changes. I didn't bring my book tonight, but I think 4 times there were questions put on the ballot that were passed. So there's ways to change the Home Rule Charter. This all came up because this governing body, due to their ineptness, ended up violating the Home Rule Charter, a specific section which was successfully used in efforts previously. Had to do with getting tax increases rescinded and that type of thing. So I think the Home Rule Charter has served it very well. It doesn't need to be changed. Anybody that has anything that they feel ought to be changed has the mechanism written into the Home Rule Charter to bring them up. And I think that the plan to have a committee is an effort by this council to cover their hind ends due to their ineptness relative to the fire company ballot. And so I just want the public to know, you ought to be aware that they're expending time, effort, money that's unnecessary and I would encourage people to consider whether they want to look into it and either agree with me or let these guys go wherever, and it's hard to tell what will happen. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a comment. Let me hand that back to you.
Mr. Dixon?
For those of you that might not know what Mr. Harrison was just talking about, we had a process whereby we placed a referendum on the ballot to raise a tax to build the new fire station, and that had to go into the Home Rule Charter. So the referendum appeared on the ballot, and the charter was amended favorably after a favorable vote. It's Mr. Harrison's contention that we were irresponsible in the methodology we used to get that referendum on the ballot. Mr. Harrison is alone in his view. Every member of council, our staff, the mayor, our learned council, the officials at Allegheny County, including the election department, everybody who looked at this in the entire wide world, as far as I know, agreed that what we did was the right thing. Mr. Harrison disagrees with everybody. And so that's the basis of his comments. And I just wanted to clarify that for those of you who may not know what he was talking about there. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I get my second shot. I just want to say that I'm not claiming that there's, let me tell you what my claim is. My claim is they violated a section of the Home Rule Charter, and if they deny that, then they're just not telling it like it is. The way it got on the ballot is for Ms. McTiernan to write an opinion that I call a Philadelphia lawyer type opinion, to say, well, yeah, that's what the Home Rule Charter says, but in this case, some sort of special case, we can override it. But you know, anybody that wants to check with me or check by themselves, I'll give them the specifics. And anybody that can read the language would find out that the Home Rule Charter had a stipulation, still has it. In fact, I've asked the solicitor give us an opinion as what the status of that particular part of the Home Rule Charter today. I think that's a bother in case somebody wanted to exercise their right under that part of the charter, what would happen. But in any case, that was in fact violated by the timing of the ballot question. And you know, they can argue that I'm the only one that says that something's wrong with it. But it took a ruling by the solicitor to say it was okay. If it was just normally using the Home Rule Charter, we wouldn't have needed a ruling by the solicitor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. O'Brien.
Over the years, we've had discussions about looking at the charter, about reviewing it. This issue with the fire department raised that question again, not necessarily for that issue, but the whole charter itself. Sometimes change is difficult and hard to accept when you were probably the one who was on the original committee. In fact, Jim's father was the chairman of that committee. It's healthy to take a look. It's healthy to get new ideas. It's healthy. And I applaud these people who are going to take their time, individuals volunteering their time along with council members to take a look at the Home Rule Charter. It's just a healthy thing to do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. I'll just make one last comment. Other communities with Home Rule Charters have undertaken exactly this sort of study just to take a look at it. It's been 35 years since our charter was first adopted. And it makes sense to sit down and just take a thorough look from beginning to end and see whether, in fact, there's anything that needs to be changed. What people should understand is that's the thinking behind this, and they should also understand that if any recommendations for changes are made, they have to be approved by the voters of Bethel Park. They cannot be approved solely by this body. So the voters would have the chance to consider it and vote on whether they wanted to make the change. Next item on the agenda is planning and zoning. Mr. Dixon.
Mr. President, once again, we have no items on the agenda under planning and zoning.
Are there any additional items? Hearing none, we'll move to the next item, which is health, safety, and welfare. Mr. Pape.
There is no items under health, safety, and welfare.
Are there any additional items?
No.
Then we'll move to the next item, which is citizens' comments on public works and maintenance items. We'll note for the record that there is no one signed up to speak. So we will move to the next item, public works and maintenance, and Ms. Gibbons.
Staff ordinance for floodplain management FEMA. I move we approve an ordinance amending the municipal code by adopting the floodplain management ordinance, which regulates construction, grading, and land development in floodplains and flood-prone areas.
Second?
Motion has been made and seconded that we approve an ordinance amending the municipal code by adopting the floodplain management ordinance, which regulates construction, grading, and land development in floodplains and flood-prone areas. Mr. Spagnol, may I have a roll call?
Harrison.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Pape.
Yes.
Colella.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
7-0.
Motion is approved, 7 in favor, none opposed. Ms. Gibbons?
Shaycog Purchasing Alliance 2014 rock salt bid. I move that we award a contract to Cargill, Inc. for the supplying of rock salt for the 2014-15 winter season in the amount of $79.29 per ton through the Shaycog Joint Purchasing Agreement.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded that we award a contract to Cargill, Inc. for the supplying of rock salt for the 2014-15 winter season in the amount of $79.29 per ton through the Shaycog Joint Purchasing Agreement. Any discussion on this item?
Mr. McLean.
Mr. Harrison.
I just think if the public's been reading the paper, you probably noticed they had stories about the price of salt going up tremendously. We only got one bid, so we basically had no choice. We obviously need salt to take care of our roads. But I just thought the public ought to know that that's an aspect of our budget that has gone up tremendously, and there's no way we can get around it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison. Anyone else? Mr. Spagnol, may we have a roll call, please?
McLean.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Pape. Colella.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
7-0.
Motion approved, 7 in favor, none opposed. Ms. Gibbons?
There are no additional items in the flood.
Next item is adjournment. May we have a motion to adjourn? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. O'Brien.
Just to let people know that this month up to Veterans Memorial is the Air Force's birthday, so the blue flags are flying very beautiful. And also, I asked the people tonight for their thoughts and prayers for Timothy and the Myrie family. The days to come will be very difficult for them. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Any other additional items? Hearing none, may we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Today we will be covering women's health, specifically 2 types of cancers which are common in women. The first cancer is breast cancer. 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime.
Symptoms of breast cancer include lumps in the breast and swelling in the armpit, change in shape or size in the breast, dimpling or puckering of the skin, nipple discharge that starts suddenly, or new pain in one spot that doesn't go away. Gender, aging, race, genetic risk factors, family history, and previous chest radiations are all risk factors for breast cancer. Though there is no foolproof method for preventing breast cancer, getting regular physical activity, limiting your calories, and limiting your alcohol intake can all help with prevention. Women should perform a monthly self-breast exams and get annual breast exams by a doctor. The best screening tool available is a mammogram. Women aged 40 and older should have a mammogram each year. If you find a lump or believe you're at risk, contact a doctor.
The other cancer we will mention is ovarian cancer. It is the leading cause of death out of all the gynecologic cancers. Symptoms of ovarian cancer are abdominal pressure, bloating, swelling, pelvic or abdominal discomfort, persistent indigestion, constipation, loss of appetite, lack of energy, and lower back pain. Age, obesity, fertility drugs, androgens, estrogen therapy, hormone therapy, and talcum powder are all risk factors for ovarian cancer. Ovarian cancer can be hereditary. If you have a family history of ovarian or breast cancer, or a personal history of breast cancer, talk to your doctor. You can prevent ovarian cancer by using oral contraceptives, gynecologic surgery, genetic counseling, and tubal ligation. Ovarian cancer is difficult to detect until you reach the later stages, making it a very dangerous cancer. If you experience any of these symptoms, contact your doctor immediately. For more information on either cancer, visit www.cancer.org. Falling in the home is very common and is dangerous. Luckily, it's very preventable.
Many health problems increase the chance of falling in the home. Talk to your doctor about possible health problems that could increase your risk of falling.
Wearing the right shoes can go a long way in fall protection. Wear properly fitting, sturdy shoes with non-skid soles. Avoid wearing high heels, flimsy slippers, and shoes with slick soles.
Staying physically active can also decrease the chance of falling. With a doctor's okay, consider activities that improve strength, balance, and coordination.
There are many ways to make your home safer as well. Clearing walkways of cords or boxes, securing loose rugs with double-faced tape or slip-resistant backing, and using non-slip mats in your bathtub or shower all help.
There are many things to consider towards fall prevention. Talk to your doctor about other possible ways to prevent falls.
Today we're going to inform you about heart attacks. The symptoms of a heart attack are chest pain, tightness, erratic breathing, fatigue, palpitations, heavy sweating, and lightheadedness.
The risk factor of heart attacks are increasing age, tobacco usage, and physical inactivity, triglycerides, obesity, diabetes, and high blood pressure. In addition, having a family history of heart attacks also serves as a warning sign.
Eating well, exercising, and avoiding tobacco usage are all methods of preventing heart attacks.
Remember that not all heart attacks have clear warning signs. Some heart attacks just feel like severe indigestion. If you're experiencing the symptoms of a heart attack, call 911 or 412-833-2000 immediately. For more information, visit www.heart.org. Over 1 million people in the U.S. get cancer each year. Today we will be informing you about melanoma or skin cancer.
Symptoms of melanoma are changes in existing moles, the development of new pigmented or unusual looking growths on your skin, chills, cough, and feeling weak or achy.
Some risk factors of melanoma are fair skin and light-colored hair, applying sunscreen, avoiding midday sun, wearing protective clothing, wearing a hat, sunglasses, and avoiding tanning beds are all ways of preventing melanoma.
Skin cancer is the most common form of cancer. In fact, 1 in 5 Americans will develop skin cancer in their lifetime. If you experience any of these symptoms, contact your doctor immediately. Yearly professional skin exams are recommended. For more information on these cancers, visit cancer.org.
Today we are going to inform you about 2 types of mental illnesses. First, we are going to tell you about anxiety. Everyone experiences anxiety at one time or another. However, when the anxiety interferes with your life, it's time to consider seeking help. Symptoms of anxiety are uncontrollable and obsessive thoughts, nightmares, shortness of breath, feelings of panic and fear or uneasiness without reason. Some risk factors for having anxiety are being female, temperament, and stress. One of the most severe forms of anxiety is OCD, or obsessive-compulsive disorder. When someone has OCD, they can't tell the difference between a real threat and an irrational fear. Anxiety disorders are some of the most common mental disorders. If anxiety is interfering with your day-to-day life, then speak with your doctor.
The other mental illness we are covering today is bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder causes unusual shifts in mood, energy, and activity levels. There are two sides to bipolar disorder, mania and depression. Symptoms of mania are an overly happy or outgoing mood, extreme irritability, talking very quickly, jumping around, being easily distracted, being overly restless, sleeping little, and engaging in high-risk behaviors. Symptoms of depression are long periods of sadness, loss of interest, feeling tired, having difficulty concentrating and making decisions, being irritable, changing in eating or sleeping habits, and suicidal thoughts. Risk factors of bipolar disorder are genetics and age. Bipolar disorder is sometimes referred to as a manic depressive illness. If you feel that you or a loved one has bipolar disorder, speak with your doctor. For more information on these mental illnesses and more, visit nim.nih.gov. Today we'll be discussing strokes. Strokes kill almost 130,000 Americans each year. In fact, 1 American dies from a stroke every 4 minutes.
Symptoms of a stroke are headaches, numbness on one side of the body, weakness and dimness of vision. Remember, FAST.
FAST is an acronym for the main symptoms of a stroke. F is for facial drooping. If someone is having a stroke, one side of their face will likely droop.
A is for arm weakness. If a person is having a stroke, their arms will become heavy and slow, or might even abruptly become paralyzed. S is for speech difficulty. Someone having a stroke may not be able to speak correctly or create a clear sentence.
T is for time to call 911. If you believe that you or someone else is having a stroke, seek medical help immediately. Time is of the essence when someone is having a stroke.
Some risk factors of stroke are increasing age, race, high blood pressure, atrial fibrillation, diabetes, sickle cell disease, tobacco usage, and diet.
Eating healthy foods, avoiding tobacco usage, and exercising are ways to prevent stroke. If you are experiencing the symptoms of a stroke, call 911 or 412-833-2000 immediately. For more information, go to strokeassociation.org.
Hello, America. Mr. Bold speaking. I issued an ice bucket challenge to my good friend Darth Vader, and given his ego and celebrity status, I was sure that he would take the challenge. But if he doesn't show up in the next minute or two, I'm going to have to do it myself.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Nice towel. And I said a bucket challenge. That's a cup.
Don't make me destroy you.
You're such a show-off. What are you waiting for, you big sissy?
It is pointless to resist.
I can't believe you just force-soaked me!
All too easy.
You're not such a bad guy after all, old buddy.
Apology accepted.
The Ice Bucket Challenge has done a great job of raising awareness for ALS and many other noteworthy charities. If you have an Ice Bucket Challenge or some other cause you would like to bring attention to, Darth Vader and yours truly, Mr. Bold, would like you to come to BPTV and will gladly help you make a program or promo or share your existing video with the community.
We would be honored if you would join us.